Okay, just to start off quickly, two topics. One is the topic of Teva, that mentioned that as you know, Teva has more than one meaning. There's a Teva that we know is a boat, and there's a Teva which is a word. So the question is, what's the common denominator between the two things that's a Teva? You know, in word form, we've mentioned the Shir, Rabbi Yirmiyah mentioned it, that anytime you have more of a Gilui, it's considered more of a Tikkun. When we learn Isius, so you know we learned about the Tanta, which is Taimim, Nakudas, Tag, and Isius. Each one on its own, independently, can tell you a whole story. But when you take them together, when you take the Isius and you put them together, that's really the Gilui of that ice. When you put together 6 Isius of Bereshis, so there's a Gilui of all those Isius. What's their kavanah for being here? Is a Gilui of their, what's the purpose of them being here? Is to be Megala, this word in the Torah. So it's a Gilui Isius. So the Teva is now, it's a combination of a bunch of pratim that are coming together to create one unit. And that itself is the tikkun, the fact that they're putting together in one place. By Noach, he had similar. The world was in a matziv of total churban, and it needed a tikkun. So the churban was coming to the world, which I'm going to exactly, where it came from. Mayim, there's 2 types of mayim. There's mayim tovim and mayim bishon. But before we get to the actual mayim, so we had to, so to speak, be mevarer the sigin, and we had to take them, all the parts of the world for kiyam ha'olam, which that was the instructions to Noach, to take all the chayas and all the tzmachim. Tzmachim he didn't have to bring in because they stayed on the ground, but everything that was life, all the behemoths, they also did chatoim, and all the people, they all needed a tikkun, so he had to all bring them in under one roof, and while they were in the Teva, so he kept out all the tumas. That was the tikkun, because everything, all the sigin from the outside were kept out, and they were encapsulated in that, and in that they were able, so to speak, to have their tikkun, just like when you have Isius that are coming together, the Gilui is the tikkun. Over here also, when the Meimei Hamabel stopped, so that was when the Teva, so to speak, opened up, that was the Gilui of the tikkun of all those things that were inside the Teva. So that was just one little thing that I wanted to mention, Teva. Also just Agav, if you see also, this is just like sidebar, that the word Teva, most of the times, if you look, if you would write the word Teva, how would you write it? Taf Yud Vav Hey or Taf Vav Hey? I mean not Vav, I mean Beis. Taf Yud Beis Hey or Taf Beis Hey? Pashas Taf Yud Beis Hey. Right? But if you look in the Torah, mostly it's spelled Taf Beis Hey. But I'm going to go with the Taf Yud Beis Hey. Taf Yud Beis Hey is how much? Is 417. And if you take the Eis Tav, which is Taf Yud Vav, which is 216, so Im HaKailel, the Shava B'Shava, and coming to show you that just like the Eis Tav is we'll call it the Nukva, it's like the Malchus of all the Eisius, it's the end. And so when you come to the end, so then everything comes back to the beginning. And so it's, in other words, it's making it into one large unit. So to all the things that are in the Teva, it becomes one unit. Just Agav, you could. It's bias, right? Okay. It's also same principle. The things go into one unit. Okay, that was Drush. You could be chaylik on it all day long. But I wanted to tell you over a shtickle that I saw. It's from the Gaon. with the beer of Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Chaver, and it's very hard and very teeth. So he says, why was the chet of Dar HaMabul, why was the tikkun coming from a mabul? Why did it have to come from Mayim? So many Mefarshim speak about it, so forth. So he's saying over here that he's talking about a mikveh, that over here it's talking the tshuva is coming mitzad ha-mikveh, zarakti aleichem mayim tahirim. And the way it's working is that mayim is coming from Tikkun Yud Gimel of the Venake, and that's I'm going to read you the lashon. Venake shesham soid hamakayim, shesham soid hamikveh, val yoda nidcha mimenu hatuma shehu b'soid mayim haroim mayim agulim sheshasa mehem hanachash v'heim soid memtes sharabina me'ima shehi nechleles b'mazla hamayim. So, in other words, Vinake is the ultimate tikkun. We're cleaned off of all Arav, and the main mikveh has the ability to do that. So by Rabbeinu Shalom, so to speak, cleansing the world, so he brought the main mabul in order to, so to speak, cleanse the whole world. Okay. And he brings also, like it says in the Bible, V'hi l'shivas hayamim, Omei mabul hayu ala aretz, mem yaim, beside mayim haraim misitra delatata. And he brings weiter, he says in Safra Tzneisa, it says Yishutzu hamayim, mayim tovin, mayim bishim. And then he says also, which I guess it's recording, I'm just going to say it anyhow, that since Reiv da Averis came through Znos, it was also through Gezel, but also through Znos. Most Averis today are coming in that China, and it's a word of Moitzi Zera, which is Mayim. So since the Avera came al Yidei Mayim, so too the Tikkun also should come al Yidei Mayim. Okay? And he says, V'chein dar hamabel sheschisam darkam, v'nidoinu b'mayim bishin al Yidei hagvuris hakoshes, like it says, aniftachu mayones tahim rabba. Beside, mayim nukfin, the nukfa de tahim rabba, she'asus ha-shalah, v'lokcha chelkam v'oz ha-yamamish ke'ein, oilam hatayu. And this is part, the reason why I picked this shtickle is because we're learning about Shviras HaKelim, and he continues to say, Ke'ein oilam hatayu shenishberu HaKelim v'husru hasigim v'nesakna al yidei yisod ilah, which is Melech Hadar. And we all know that Melech Hadar was the 8th Melech, and the Tikkun came through Melech Hadar. That's Hadar, that's a Lashon, going back Lashon Tshuva, Shehu Noyach. I guess it was a Gilgal, I'm not sure exactly where he gets it from. The Gimel Banav, which is Gimel Gavnei HaKeshes. As you know, the Keshes came out as a reminder that there'll never be a Mabel again. So it's showing you that the Tikkun of Noach, the Gimel Banav, is the Gimel Gavnei HaKeshes, which not something you can make up. And so that's also showing you how the tikkun over here was a tikkun for the whole world. And he says, Ki yadua she'in shviras hakelim hayat ha'arasam ke'en mashakosov shvirasan, just like a klicheres shvirasan zuris ha'arasam she'en klicheres me'ara, because the dafka comes from the adama the nachash afal lachmai. That's why klicheres shvirasan zuris ha'arasam is basically going back to the earth. Ba'az is the kiyas, it's a labaila, and then it'll be nika, it'll be tahar, isha labaila. The Goyim tell us that there's a that how do we know? I mean, even though the Baruch Shalom gave a haftacha, there won't be another mabul, but in pasuk in Tehillim it says Hashem la mabul yashav. That the Goyim are saying, how do we know that if we're going to all do the Averis again, how do we know there won't be Lamabel Yashav? Lamaisa will be doing the same Averis today that they did in Dar HaFlaga, Dar HaMabel. So why are we not getting back Yena Averis? So, and that, the pasuk answers itself. It says, Hashem Lamabel Yashav, right? he says, I'm just quoting you, Sheniskaptikol Umas Ha'olam V'amru Shema Mevi Mabu, and what was the answer? Hashem is La'ama Yitain. I gave that koyach that it should never return a mabul, that I gave La'ama Yitain, that all the averis that are being done by the Umas Ha'olam, so by us doing a Maisa Mitzvah, so we're being misaken yana things that are coming from the averis of the Dor HaMabul, and therefore it can never come again as long as Klal Yisrael is Oisim Ritzon Shel Makom, so it can't come again. So I mostly wanted to, I wasn't saying so much my own things, I mostly wanted to say this here, basically, that the Mei HaMabul was the Mei HaMikvah, which was mitaher, so to speak, the world, and it came from the Mayim Bishan. There's two types of Mayim. Mayim Bishan was, because the waters had a double function. Function A was to get rid of the sigin, get rid of all the klippas, and the second thing was the same water had the ability to be mitaher. And that's why there was dafka, the einish came dafka al yidei mei hamabul, and that created a makom tikkun for the whole world, and through Noach Gimel Banav, and also dafka, that's why it was also there was three floors in the teva to show you also there's the Gimel Banav, the Gimel the Gavnei Keshes, and there was a third Gimel, I forgot what it was already. I forgot what it was. But just the main point that I wanted to say is that the answer to the Mabul is Hashem is La'ama Yitain, that will be Zoiche to the Tikkun HaShalem through our Torah and Mitzvahs.
What sefer is it?
The sefer is